Welcome to
The Neapolitan
Scoop Podcast.
My name is Steph.
My name is Shay.
And my name is Rose. Thank you for tuning into the Neapolitan Scoop Podcast, where you get your weekly scoop. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe right now. Before we jump in, quick note on our content. This is created for adult audiences only. We do advise listener and viewer discretion. In today's episode, we will be discussing death. It may be a lot to take in, so if you need a breather, take your time, take a breath, come right back. Today's topic is hazing. According to East Carolina University, hazing is defined as, and it includes, but it is not limited to the following: activities and situations which create excessive fatigue and enduring extreme conditions, physical abuse and psychological shock, wearing apparel that is conspicuous of not normally in good taste, morally degrading, humiliating, and embarrassing games, stunts, jokes, or activities, irrespective to whether performed in public or in private settings. It might also include an activity which requires an unreasonable or inordinate amount of the individual's time in perished, the placement of any liquid or solid matter in the mouth, or the rapid consumption of food or liquid. So there's a whole bunch of things that can be considered hazing. Some that I didn't even consider. It says paddling in any form, requiring the person to participate in any activity which may be illegal, contrary to their moral or religious beliefs. So again, it's a lot of things that we wouldn't even, well, I wouldn't have thought were considered hazing, that we would have just said it's people being rough with each other, that are considered hazing. That would even include alcohol, treasure hunts and quests, and scavenger hunts and road trips may be considered hazing. So it's a lot. Yes. So with that being said, we're going to send it over to Shay for some questions.
Well, I would very much so rather do a scavenger hunt or maybe even a road trip than half the stuff that these people got to deal with. But so let's see. Why are people willing to participate in hazing, even when it can be dangerous? So, we're talking about the college guy. What was his name? Caleb, yes, Caleb, who passed away because he was pledging Omega Psi. Yes, and he was pledging Omega Psi, and we all know, or if we don't know how that happened, basically, he was in a part of being initiated, and I guess in the process, he was getting punched in the chest, and then there was that one blow to the chest that pretty much caused him to have a seizure, and it was a whole spectacle regarding about how they found out what really happened to him. And so I guess just back to the question, why are people willing to participate in hazing, even if it can be dangerous?
That's a good question.
I think people want to be part of something. And sororities in colleges make it sound like if you join their sorority or their fraternity, you are going to be top of the line. You're going to be the best. You're going to hang out with the best. You're going to have the best opportunities. So I think it's a sense of wanting to belong to something that people, they might even think, that all these places are not going to tell you everything that they do for you to join it either. They're just going to say, oh yeah, become part of our organization. We're not, we're friendly. We do cupcakes. We do parties, all the fun stuff you want to do. But they don't tell you what happens or what you have to do to actually join them.
I think it's that, and I also think it has a lot to do with, it has something to do with family. Sometimes when you come from a family that has, comes from a history of fraternities and sororities, you feel obligated to follow in those shoes. It comes with a lot of incentives sometimes, once you cross over, you have more access. It's almost like a networking type of thing. Like, oh, now you've crossed over. Now you have a bigger network because now these are
Mhm.
your sorors, or so I think some people do it for networking purposes. Some people do it because their families did it, and others do it because they feel a need to belong to something. And at the end of the day, it's okay to do. It's just what it takes to do it. Like,
Mhm.
do you want it that bad to the point to where you're willing to go through all of these things to get
Yeah.
there?
I know
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like a brotherhood or a sisterhood, right? So a lot of people,
Mhm.
like if you didn't have any siblings and stuff, when you finally went to college, they
Mm.
become like your long life friends and things like that. And I remember just seeing some comments about, like, for instance, this particular fraternity and this situation with him. And they're like, it's supposed to be a brotherhood, but is this how you really, like, is it worth it? Like, I got to go through
Right.
some type of harsh punishment just to be accepted. And I know it's a history of hazing. Like, this isn't the first one. It's been
Mm-hmm.
something that's been going on for a very, very long time. And it's been banned at some schools. Some universities
Mhm.
have banned it. They find out, there can be consequences as well. But I don't know. Like, my sister, she is in a sorority, and she pledged the poodles. Girl, don't give me the girl, don't give me the line about the name. I know it and I forget it, but it's the poodles. And I'd be like, what y'all do? What happened? She can't tell me. You know what I'm saying? I'll be trying to get the intel, but they won't tell you. And it's like it's a
Mm.
secret, And I'm like, well, what the hell do they put y'all through? But
Right.
whatever they put them through, it bonds them like like nothing you've ever seen before,
Mhm.
And it's just, I don't know what they all do, if they all haze and to the extent in which they do, but I know for the
Right.
guys, they tend to have it a lot worse than
Mm.
possibly the women. Again, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I mean, men are going to have their egos. And then, they bring back a bunch of
Right.
Yeah.
old heads that come back from years ago and they're initiating the new ones and they're just being hard on them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Trying to show them how to be real men.
And
But
what does that mean? Like, what is?
apparently getting whooped and getting drunk and getting like banged in the head and on the chest, being able to take those body shots. But I actually found an article where somebody that was previously there said that same fraternity in that same school in 1992 when he was a senior he tried to join, and he's a doctor now, but
Mm.
he says during the
Mm.
initiation and last night's process I was blindfolded and hit over the head. He said the drinks that were provided to me left me blind and paralyzed. To my understanding, the blows and the things slipped into my drink caused me to have a stroke. So again,
Wow.
same school, same fraternity in 1992. So apparently it's been happening. It's been going. It's just that it hasn't been stopped.
That's
Like, they
crazy.
would literally
Mhm.
have to, like, ban sororities and fraternities for a while to prove a point, that this is not okay. And I mean, of course, out your mouth, out of, to the public, they'll say, oh, it's frowned upon,
Yeah,
but behind closed doors,
they'll
when
allow it.
nobody's looking, they're still doing it.
As long as it's not in campus, which is probably why they said that with Mr. Wilson's case, they're thinking, and it's because they still haven't even clarified a lot of the things. It's going on a month because I think the incident happened like in February,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's been more than a month, and they're now just getting some like real information of what happened because I believe they said the fraternity lied at the beginning when they
Mm-hmm.
took his body. So they're saying the whole incident might have occurred in some kind of warehouse.
Yeah, they said it
Because of
occurred
course,
somewhere else and they moved his body.
because the school campus doesn't want nothing to do with it. So of course they're like, as long as you do your thing outside of campus, we're not liable for it. We don't care. So it's awful.
Yeah. I think I heard that he so he was punched, and then
He fell.
he fell. He went into a seizure. He fell, and then I'm
Mm.
guessing at that point they realized he passed away. And They moved the body to another location
to change his clothing
and made it appear like something just like he was just there and he just collapsed and nothing else. Like they omitted the whole part where they
hazing
punched
process.
him. Yeah. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think they took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And just dropped him off. Like literally just dropped him off there and tried to act like they had nothing to do with it. But if it wasn't for the cameras that were rolling and that they realized that, because I think they didn't even say that it was at the warehouse. It was like, oh, we were doing something related to blah, 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 nothing hazing related, and made it seem like he just collapsed. Maybe they was just running and he collapsed. But all along, they go back, see the video footage, they're at a warehouse. They move his body. They drop him off at the hospital. And it's like, all of that is trackable. But then I asked myself, what would have happened if there weren't cameras? You know, if
I feel like they would have found out either way, because if you think about it, they probably investigated everybody who was there. Somehow, I mean, I think it's crazy for people to think that they can get away with a crime, especially something like, what is this going to be considered murder? Like, what is this going to be considered?
It is.
Yeah.
Actually
So it's like,
murder.
So it's like you got people who's probably getting interrogated who ain't ever been interrogated in their life, and then words gonna start dropping, names gonna start dropping because I'm not going to jail. So let me tell you who really did what. That's how they ended up finding the three.
Yep. It says they were booked on charges of manslaughter and criminal hazing. One was 25, the other one was 28, and the third person, I believe, turned himself in. So,
and it's sad because like when one of the guys who turned himself in, he like a clean cut dude. Like I'm pretty sure all of them was very educated. You know, they all probably had decent jobs. You know, college educated men, and it just sucks that now your life is torn and tainted because of a choice that you did not have to make.
Yep, that reminds me of that post that Steph posted the other day. Having a college education doesn't mean that, you know, they were still ignorant, because if they would have really thought about, used their education and what they have learned, they would have avoided this situation. But it's just, they didn't. So unfortunately.
But then I think it also goes to show their individuality. Like a lot of them lacked individuality. So there was a ringleader.
Yeah.
There was a ringleader that said, let's do this, and this is what we're going to do. And everyone followed. But then again, the question is, are you really a leader? Because a leader is never going to set you up for failure. A leader is going to always set you up for success.
Right.
So it's kind of more so like they were a dictator. They were saying,
a lot of ego there. Yeah.
This is what we're going to do. And it could have been that one person who's probably the oldest. Who was the one who got charged with murder? Was that the 25-year-old?
I think they were all charged with manslaughter and criminal hazing.
But the one who actually punched him, how old was he? The one who?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think he was out of school. He wasn't even in school. He already had graduated.
That's crazy.
So we're gonna take it back to that. So he technically has more seniority over the other ones who were still there. So he probably dictated. Them other ones probably didn't even want to do it. But because you are my big brother, I'm supposed to do what you say do. And he just took it there. And it's like, it just goes back to show like, yes, I'm not knocking joining fraternities or sororities, because yeah, I do believe in sisterhood and brotherhood. But there's a difference between sisterhood and brotherhood is supposed to be uplifting. I'm supposed to uplift you and put you in a position of power. Not in a position of power to where you abuse it. In a position of power to where you lift the people that's behind you. And that's where they failed this guy, because it's like, he joined the sorority either because he probably thought that he was joining a brotherhood that was supposed to uplift him and move him forward in life. And if anything,
and he believed in the mission that they stood for.
Right. So he put everything on the line. He probably didn't even think that was going to go down that day.
Yeah.
At least not to that extent. And at that point, when you're already there, what do you do? What do you do when you're already there?
Yeah.
So That brings me to my next question. So, is there a difference between harmless bonding activities and actual hazing? Where is the line?
I mean, I would have thought there is a difference, but according to these these definitions of hazing, it looks like they're pretty much the same thing. I think it's just the difference would be how far you take it. Because a scavenger hunt can be something very fun, a group activity, a bonding moment. But if you make a scavenger hunt and this person, has no clothes on and now has to go around whole campus, person, at scavenger hunt and other people are hitting them with like BB guns. I think that's when it becomes like that's next level, and I think that's when it becomes harmful.
I've heard of them like dropping them off in the middle of nowhere. Like they blindfold you and drive you to the middle of nowhere. Now you got to figure out your way back. Like it's borderline bullying. Like why do we gotta do this? Like we can't just go have like if it's a girl sorority, let's just go bond and talk about our feelings, or like we could do some type of exercises, or like let's go do like they surround themselves regarding community service. So just give me some extensive community service hours, like
as women, why are we putting somebody that we call our sisters through this? Like what that defeats the purpose of you saying you're doing community service when you're hurting the people that are supposed to be providing that. So it's that doesn't make sense to me, but
it's like there's so many positive ways that, and because a lot of them say that that's how you prove your loyalty. There's so many harmless ways that you can prove your loyalty. Because trust me, if that's the case, I would be beating my child every day. He probably wouldn't be living with me. But it's almost the same thing. Like you have to instill values into people, and that could be putting them to the test. You could sit there and try to make them as angry as possible, and teach them like, hey, you have to learn to control your anger.
Or some sort of team building exercise, like something. I don't know. I just feel like going
team building.
They'd be going too far. Just like you said, the whole hitting and maybe even like them probably like just bad mouthing each other.
Physically,
like I don't know, harm, verbal, and I don't know what they make the girls do. I don't even want to imagine, but there was stuff in the going around a while ago about AKAs and about them having like a prostitution ring and stuff. So I'm like, I hope they wasn't involving these girls into that.
So let me ask y'all this question. Have y'all ever tried joining a sorority? Were y'all ever interested in it? Is that something?
I didn't try.
I was.
Yeah, I wanted to join, but I think my freshman year screwed up my grades, and then I didn't even know anything about the meetings that was going on, so it kind of went past me.
I did, but the fees were high, one. And two, they required a lot of time from me, and I didn't have the time to go and sit in through all these meetings and provide all these services that they wanted me to do. So my schedule and my pocket did not agree with the sorority, so it didn't happen. But I did at some point, especially because it was Latina based, and I think there were not enough Latina sororities out there, so that was definitely something I wanted to do.
I can just imagine you being in a Latina sorority, just out there.
Of course, but it didn't happen. So everything happens for a reason. So I was just like, no, my pockets are okay. I'm gonna that it's a lot of money that they have to actually put in as well. And a lot of time.
Considering doing like the grad chapter, but I'm just like, it's not the same experience though either. Like, granted, I don't want to be hazed, but you do want the undergrad college version of that.
Yeah,
that's where you build the sisterhood. It's like you bond with the people versus you. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I was definitely interested for number one because I wanted to do the steps. I wanted to step. I wanted to be a stepper. That was like the thing that attracted me to it. However, when I started hearing about some of the things that they were subjected to or seeing some of the things that they were being subjected to, I was like, I'm not good at people talking to me any kind of way.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not good with that. Like I believe in respect. You show me respect, I give you respect. So I just, at that point, I was like, I might not be a good fit for this. Now, true enough, every school has its own sorority, its own fraternity. They do things differently, but at the end of the day, I was just like, I'm just not about to clean your toilet.
Right.
I'll clean mine. I'll clean your toilet if I messed it up. Or I'll even clean your toilet, and I'm not even gonna say that because I won't do that. Now, if you're throwing up, if we go out and we get drunk and you're throwing up, I'll hold your hair. I'll make sure you don't put your face straight in the toilet.
Oh, Lord.
I might clean up the shit off the floor, but the next morning, that's your responsibility because you got to learn a lesson, and that's don't get shit faced. So I can see that. I could see that happening in like sororities and fraternities. Like that's a lesson to be taught. If y'all go out, your soror gets shit faced.
Yeah.
They throwing up everywhere. You get up the next morning, you clean your own shit. Now, true enough, at the same time, you're supposed to look out for each other. So you gotta make sure. Hey, I'm gonna make sure you throw up and you don't die.
It's funny that you mentioned that because somebody was telling me a story today about that. She said that. And she's like, I wasn't in any sororities in school, but she said that they were at a club or something and they were getting so drunk, and she's like, the people that were supposed to be watching this girl, who are her sisters, allowed her and got her all these drinks. She's like, next thing I know, she's being pulled out of the club by 3 men. She's like, and me and my friends were the ones that actually went over there and pulled her out of that car. She's like, we literally said, no, she is not going home with you guys. She's gonna come with us. She said, me and my friend put that girl in our car and we drove her over to, it was her house or her room, wherever on campus. I can't really remember what she said. She's like, but where are her sisters that she pledged to? Where are these girls that said they were going to protect her forever? The girls that got her in this situation now couldn't get her out of that. She's like, that's when I knew that I wasn't going to join any kind of sorority. She's like, it was over for me. She's like, it was sad to see how much loyalty they have to give these places, and they have no loyalty towards you as a person. She's like, no, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
So can fraternities and sororities exist without hazing, or is it too deeply integrated in the culture? I feel like they can. They just got to find a different way. Tone it down.
Like they can. I feel like they can. However, is it too deeply integrated? That's the question I can't answer because I'm not a part of that.
I feel like it is, though, because it's like multiple colleges, multiple different chapters, and multiple years of people crossing. It's going to take a lot of time to undo that. I mean, they just legitimately just have to stop it at the last, like whatever this last one that just crossed, just stop it at that one. Every university have to say, look, no more of this, like legitimately, no more. If we find out, y'all are done. And I think it's going to come down to the universities to actually say something to get them to be serious about it. Like, if we find out this chapter suspended for 10 years, there go your legacy there.
That's what that university that I went to for my master's does. That's what they do. If they catch somebody hazing you, or if they hear about you being hazing, they cancel the chapter out of the university and they won't be able to come back in. So I think that's good. But
I think that's what happened with the Caleb Wilson situation. I think they eliminated the chapter from the university. It's no longer
I'm telling
existent.
you, this other guy said it happened since 1992. So obviously it's been happening. University can't act like it hasn't been heard. Yeah. So also, I think that also relies on them. Like, you can't be acting like, like it's what they're telling you is falling on deaf ears. But I think they can definitely have them without hazing, but people that are being put through these also have to talk. They have to be able to be like,
and they're not going to.
It's a code.
It's a code.
It's a code. Yep. You can't talk about
it.
They
will never tell what they went through.
Well, unfortunately, somebody has to die for it to happen, like in this situation.
I mean, he's not the first one, I'm sure.
He's not, no.
And that's just sad because
they've been happening so much recently. Right. They've been happening so much recently, too. He's not the very first one that I hear of. Within maybe the last year, I've heard of 5 or 6 other cases that the same thing has happened. So it's maybe the type of hazing that they're doing is getting worse. I'm thinking that's what's happening. Maybe, I don't know, something is being incorporated that wasn't there before, because you're just hearing about it a lot more now.
Right.
That,
now, sidebar question. Do y'all hear about it more in black colleges, or do you hear about it in white schools? Because, well, what's it called? PWIs? Because I don't know if I hear much about those schools. They may do it differently, or it just because it's a PWI, they probably like, yeah, they go with the shit. But I don't know.
Because they are white. They are not going to subject themselves to any kind of stupid ass pain.
I'll say this. I'm a jump in because I have seen, now it's not in the sororities and the fraternities. It's just in regular everyday college life. I've seen them. I don't know if you remember, it was a documentary, I think a documentary on Netflix about a white boy that
who went to this party and he got like super drunk, right?
Super drunk, and he went like damn near comatose, and he died from. But they kept giving him the alcohol, like they put it down his throat.
And it wasn't even just that they killed him; it was the fact that they tried to move him. I think they tried to get him up because he was like laid out, and I think somebody dropped his head too on the floor when they was moving him. They dropped his head on the ground.
Well, I mean, they were probably as drunk as he was, so one drunk person trying to move another drunk person.
If I was as drunk as he was, I would have been laying right next to him.
We're not going nowhere.
right here on the floor.
You sleep, I'm sleep.
Put them down. Put them down. We're fine.
But no, real talk though. I feel like I think it's just, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not knocking sororities, fraternities. I feel like brotherhood, sisterhood is very important.
And it's beautiful.
Like, I love my sisters.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Very
the
much
concept
so.
is there. It just really much, I've seen a lot of these articles saying, it's giving them something to think about. The fact that all these deaths have occurred within the last year. They have to sit down as a chapter and say, what is it that we're doing wrong? Is this the right way to initiate people into, our chapters?
And then imagine as a parent, bro. Imagine sending your child to school. And I think college is the most fearful of parents. That's why they cry when their kids go to college, because it's just like you're entrusting your baby now to go off into what they consider the real world, and you hope they're safe, and you hope they're doing the right things, and then you get that call one day that something done happened to them, and you're like,
yeah,
you don't expect it. You don't hope to expect that call.
Mm-mm. You don't want to. Like no, no, you don't want to ever think.
It's like he had so much potential. So much potential. Like,
and that's even worse. Like,
it's not like he was out here gang banging, or robbing people. Like, he was out here doing the right thing, going to school, joining clubs, trying to join a fraternity or create a brotherhood, and all of it just thrown away by some senseless act, like stupid shit.
Yeah.
Period.
All right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No words for that. It just is horrible.
I definitely feel for his parents, because if I was in that position, I don't know.
I'd be suing the school, been suing everybody and their moms.
Ever.
Yes.
But it just will never, ever, it just won't ever fix it.
I don't know. I'd be trying to shut everything down, from the school to shut it down.
All of Louisiana.
Yep. All of Baton Rouge.
All the Gators.
Fuck them Gators.
Oh man. But
everything. I just can't imagine what those parents are going through.
How does hazing affect mental health? And why do some victims stay silent? I think we kind of talked about the silent part. It's their bond. They're like blooded together. Yeah. But
no.
I wonder how it affects their mental health.
They're trauma bonded. That's what it is. They're trauma bonded.
Like we all went through trauma.
Now we're brothers because we went through all this and we've experienced the same thing. I think the purpose, and on that that link that you sent to Steph, I think that he put it out perfectly, where he said, it's supposed to be breaking you down, breaking your egos down,
and building you
to
back up.
humble you, right? To humble you so that you request or you ask for the help of those people so that you can kind of bond with those people. But I think it's been taken to like a different extreme whether he's like now they're breaking their humanities, and I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. It's like they're doing stuff that you wouldn't do to any human, and it's like that's different. That defeats the purpose of what you're trying to say you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's why I said earlier, like, yeah, true enough. You break people down. Like, for example, if we all go out together, I mean, I feel like we're like damn near a sisterhood. I don't feel like I have to tear
We're a
Rose
gang
down
gang.
or Shay down. Yeah, gang gang. Like
That Shay throwing gang signs in the back.
Gang signs. I just did this.
Oh,
I don't even know the gang signs.
like, I don't have to tear you down to build you back up. I can let you live and learn. Meaning, if Shay, if you go, like I said, if you go out and get shit faced, I'm gonna hold your hair, make sure you don't get no throw up on it. I'm gonna let you throw up. I'm gonna give you some water. I'm gonna make sure you make it home.
Tequila, we're gonna tell you shouldn't have had all that damn tequila, and we're probably gonna laugh at you, but we're gonna be
there. The next morning, we're gonna be like, Shay, you ain't doing this shit no more. And make sure you go clean up that throw up in that restroom, because we ain't clean it up for you. But guess what? The next time Shay go out, she ain't gonna get shit faced, because she ain't gonna want to clean up that throw up.
Nah,
so
at the same time, shit faced.
No,
getting shit faced.
I don't even know why I use
hurt.
I mean, we've been through this with Shay before. Shay be like, my head hurt. I'm like, Shay, did you have tequila? Yeah, I had a couple of shots. Oh, okay, Shay.
A couple of shots.
Call us when you feel better.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's a way to like humble people without having to put them through the most embarrassing, humiliating experiences. Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
We already have to go through enough as minorities.
Yeah.
To have our own people tearing us down. Like,
I just don't understand why the beatings, like, why are you hitting people? What are you trying to do? Break their spirit? Like, why are you trying to hit people and just, I don't know. I don't know where the physical harm comes in. Like, who was the smartass that said, let's beat this person up to prove that they'll be part of this?
So it can prove their loyalty. We got to beat them up.
Right.
Let me see what the significance. I feel like the pad has something to do with it. Let me see
it's like
the significance.
Oh yeah, because a lot of them I don't know if they still get paddles, but I know a lot of them used to get paddles and stuff.
They still do.
So pain cause physical pain just because to break you down, to cry.
Let me see if I can find something. Oh, shoot. Look at this. It says the fraternity and sorority paddle is most commonly used today as a decorative keepsake representing brotherhood or sisterhood, and is given as a gift according to a local chapter's traditions. The history of the paddle, however, is rooted in violence and remains both a tool and symbol of hazing in Greek organizations. But I want to know what the root of it is. Like, why did they just decide to
paddle people?
Yeah.
To hit people. Because, like, he made a good point where he was like, I bet he said the founders didn't get beat. Who hit the founders?
They hit themselves.
They didn't come up with this. They didn't, like, where did this beating come from? Like, where? Because, like, I know it, like we said, sororities and fraternities, they go back so far. Like, I think the AKAs, their year is like 1908. So I don't know any other ones, but just as an example, like, that's the freaking 1900s, like early 1900s. And I'm pretty sure when they put that stuff together, they was not thinking like, let's smack each other, let's curse each other. We don't know what they do on the women's side. We just know about the men's side for sure. Because they be trying to be proving that they hard and whatever they do. But I couldn't imagine them starting off that early. Mind you, slavery was just a thing. Like, dang, we just got this hard time with these people, and now we coming
and I'm gonna let somebody beat me.
And I'm gonna let somebody beat me. What they say? I told her, hop on you, baby. No.
So
They said, the color purple. You told her, hop on me.
So this is what I found. It says paddles are traditionally seen as a form of hazing, blah, blah, blah. It says tracing their roots back to English sailors who used them as a form of punishment for those who left their post. It says the paddles slowly evolved. It says the paddles slowly evolved throughout time with American slave owners using the same practices to punish their slaves. So it says American slave owners were said to use the paddle to avoid the physical scars left by whips, as scars on the backs of slaves deteriorated their value when being sold.
So they don't want to scar you, so they're going to punch you, but they're going to kill you instead of scarring you.
So you mean to tell me y'all are implementing slave ownership into y'all's organization?
Black Brotherhood and Sisterhood.
Like, what?
Make it make sense.
So I thought we came far from this, and yet we are like making it traditions to beat on each other. And oh god, I don't know what to say.
Ignorance. It's people just oblivious to the history behind stuff like this.
I can't believe Gen Z is allowing this, because Gen Z don't give a damn.
The most I'm not having an ass generation that has ever been birthed. Okay, they don't have nothing.
But y'all also know as millennials, we what we want, we get. We convince people to do what we want. So I'm sure it was somebody that was, somebody from there from the past that's like, we're gonna keep this tradition alive because y'all blah blah blah, and it's a tradition, if you want to join and you want to be part of this, you have to do it, and it's part of pledging and blah blah blah.
Shit, we gonna piss somebody off with this podcast episode.
I bet.
We just
tell us that you got beat up because you needed team building exercise and you didn't know anything better, so you had to get beat up as a team.
All we're saying is you don't have to haze to create a sisterhood or a brotherhood.
Right.
You can. It can be built around love, and you can show love in so many other forms.
Use the intelligence.
Yeah. Y'all are all educated Black people. Yes. Minorities. We already got it hard enough. Find another way to build each other up.
Yes, we already got it hard enough. That's the perfect thing. We shouldn't be tearing each other down. We should be building each other up.
Right.
Period. Because we lost a very good Black soul that had so much potential over something that didn't even have to happen. I know y'all are mad because we might have said a couple of truths. We might have preached a little bit, but at the end of the day, we need to stop the hazing. Period.
We definitely do.
Period. We need to stop the hazing in gangs. We need to stop the hazing in fraternities, sororities. We need to stop the killing.
We were talking about how it's gang mentality. It's really just they're acting like gangsters, like they're initiating a person into their gang, and they're supposed to be a group of intellects together.
We're too smart for that. That's the point. Y'all are in college. Like, do you know how much it took for minorities to get to that point? Still, like, why are we doing stupid shit? Why? Like, stop doing the stupid shit. You're too smart for this. Too smart for it. Stop falling for the okie doke. Stop it. Because that's what they want us to do. They want us to keep being ignorant. They want us to keep killing each other. We got to stop it. We got to start building each other up. Period. We did this podcast in memory of Caleb Wilson, who lost his life due to hazing. Our condolences go out to his family, his friends, and the whole community of Louisiana, who I'm sure is grieving behind this.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. Again, if you enjoyed our content, or if you didn't, please subscribe to our channel, like, and comment. We love feedback. While you're at it, follow us on all streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you stream your music or your podcast from. Also, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. If you have a topic that you would like for us to discuss, or if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, feel free to email us. Again, thank you, and see you next week for your weekly scoop serving. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.